Let's start with a truth most men never hear. Women do not chase men simply because they are handsome, rich, or nice. They chase men who carry themselves in a way that triggers something deeper: certainty, direction, and a sense of emotional gravity. And here's the controversial part. Most men today don't lack potential. They lack presence. That's why they get overlooked, ignored, or treated like an option instead of a priority. In a world where everyone is distracted, insecure, and constantly seeking validation, the men women chase stand out instantly. Not because they're loud, not because they're flashy, but because they move differently, they think differently, they respond differently. And the irony? These men are not trying to be chased. They don't posture, they don't perform, and they don't try to convince anyone of their value. Women sense something solid in them, something rare, and it pulls them in. You're about to see exactly what that something is. Because the truth is simple, attraction isn't random, desire isn't accidental, and a woman chasing a man is not luck. It's a reaction to a specific set of behaviors and attitudes that create emotional pull. If you've ever wondered why some guys get pursued effortlessly while others struggle to get basic attention, this video will open your eyes. Not with tricks, not with games, but with the mindset and actions that instantly change how women respond to you. By the end of this series, you'll understand what most men never learn. It's not about being the man every woman wants, it's about becoming the man women don't want to lose. 1. Women chase men who don't need them. One of the most misunderstood truths about attraction is this: women chase men who don't depend on them for emotional survival. Not because these men are cold, but because they carry themselves like they already have a full life. They're not waiting for a woman to complete them. They're not searching for approval. They're not looking for someone to validate who they are. This is controversial because many men were raised to believe that showing constant interest, giving all your attention, and being endlessly available is the right way to win a woman over. But the reality is the opposite. When you need a woman too much, you push her away. When you want her but don't depend on her, she moves closer. A man who doesn't need a woman is not dismissive, he's simply stable. He has his own goals, his own mission, and his own identity outside of romance. Women feel this instantly. It creates a sense of emotional security, even mystery. She starts wondering, why isn't he desperate? Why doesn't he react like everyone else? This is what makes her pay attention. A man who doesn't need her is also harder to manipulate emotionally. He doesn't panic if she pulls away. He doesn't crumble if she tests him. He doesn't get angry when she's busy. He stays grounded because he knows his life is bigger than one person. That's the exact energy that draws women in. The energy of someone who can walk away if necessary, but chooses not to. That choice is powerful. Here's the key. Not needing a woman doesn't mean rejecting love or connection. It means you are okay with or without it. It means your happiness is not dependent on her attention. When a woman sees this, she respects you more. She invests more. She chases more because she knows you're rare. Men who operate from neediness come off as draining, predictable, and emotionally overwhelming. Men who operate from self-sufficiency come off as balanced, intriguing, and strong. She doesn't want to be the center of your world. She wants to join a world you've already built. 1. A man meets a woman he truly likes. Instead of rearranging his entire schedule to impress her, he keeps his routine, keeps his work priorities, and keeps his standards. He sees her, but only when it fits naturally. He doesn't rush, he doesn't over-text, he doesn't beg for attention, and because of that, she becomes more curious, more consistent, and more invested. 2. Confidence without showing off. Most men misunderstand confidence. They think confidence is about being loud, flashy, or constantly proving something. But the kind of confidence women chase is much quieter and far more powerful. It's the confidence that doesn't need an audience. It's the kind that shows in how a man carries himself, not in how much noise he makes. Real confidence is controversial because it exposes a truth many ignore. If you have to show off, you're not confident, you're insecure, women instantly feel the difference. A man who brags, who tries too hard to be impressive, who keeps highlighting his achievements, usually does it because he needs recognition. He needs someone to admire him, and neediness in any form is unattractive. But a man who is quietly confident is different. He doesn't need validation to feel valuable. He doesn't try to convince anyone that he's important. He knows who he is. He knows what he brings. He knows his strengths, but he doesn't need to announce them every 5 minutes. This type of calm confidence creates a sense of emotional safety for women. They feel like they're talking to someone solid, someone grounded, someone who can handle himself. A woman can sense this even in small behaviors: how you walk into a room, how you speak, how you handle pressure, how you react to disagreement. Quiet confidence also means you're not shaken by her moods, comments, or reactions. You don't panic if she pulls back. You don't get nervous if she takes a while to respond. You stay steady. That steadiness separates you from the rest. Another key part: a quietly confident man doesn't compare himself to other men. He competes with himself. He grows for himself. He improves because he wants to be better, not because he wants attention. Women chase this kind of man because he's refreshing. In a world full of performers, he's real. In a world full of exaggeration, he's honest. In a world full of men pretending to be something, he simply is. Confidence without showing off communicates maturity, emotional strength, and inner peace. All qualities that make a woman feel drawn in without you having to force anything. When you're confident quietly, women don't follow you because they're impressed. They follow because they feel something stable in you. 1. A man goes on a date. Instead of bragging about his income, his car, or his achievements, he listens more than he talks. He answers questions simply. He doesn't oversell himself. Later, she tells him, "I don't know why, but something about you feels different." That different was his quiet confidence. 3. Emotional control beats good looks. This is one of the most uncomfortable truths men need to hear. Women don't chase the best-looking man in the room. They chase the man who can control himself. A handsome face may grab attention for a moment, but emotional control keeps a woman interested long-term. It creates a presence that looks stronger than muscles and feels safer than money. And here's the part most men ignore: your inability to control your emotions is the #1 reason you lose women you could have kept. Think about it. When a man is reactive, always irritated, jealous, overly sensitive, or easily thrown off, he becomes unpredictable in a way that feels unsafe. Women pull away from that energy because it drains them. It feels like they have to manage him instead of connect with him. But a man with emotional control is different. He doesn't break down over small things. He doesn't explode when something doesn't go his way. He doesn't beg for attention. He doesn't spiral when a woman needs space. Instead, he responds with clarity, calmness, and self-respect. That calmness is magnetic. Women are naturally drawn to stability and emotional anchoring, not a man who suppresses everything, but a man who stays grounded even during chaos. A man whose emotions serve him instead of controlling him. Men who master emotional control don't rush to prove themselves. They don't react out of fear. They don't chase someone who's pulling away. They let things unfold. They observe before responding. They act with intention rather than impulse. That's the energy that creates pursuit, because emotional control signals something deeper. You don't need her energy to survive. You don't need her validation. You don't rely on her reactions to determine your mood. This is where desire begins, when a woman realizes she can't shake you emotionally. You don't fall apart. You don't overthink everything she says. You don't get angry because she's busy. You don't crumble because she disagrees. You remain steady. Women don't chase men who look perfect. They chase men who feel safe, strong, and emotionally disciplined. Some men spend years building their bodies but never build their emotional strength. Some develop charm but stay insecure underneath it. Some become successful but still react like boys when challenged. If you want women to chase you, start by controlling your emotional world. Because in the end, emotional stability is more attractive than looks, status, or charm. It's the difference between a man she enjoys for a moment and a man she pursues naturally. 4. Boundaries that don't bend. This is where a lot of men fail without even realizing it. They have no boundaries. They say they want respect, but they tolerate disrespect. They say they want effort, but they accept the bare minimum. They say they have standards, but the moment a woman shows interest, they throw all of them out the window. Men need to hear this clearly. You cannot expect a woman to take you seriously when you don't take yourself seriously. A boundary is not a rule for her. It's a rule for you. It's a line you don't cross, even when emotions get involved, especially when emotions get involved. But too many men let attraction blind them. They fall for a woman and suddenly forget who they are. They start accepting behavior they would never accept from anyone else. They stay quiet when something bothers them because they're scared of losing her. They adjust their values to keep her happy, only to realize she respects them less every time they do it. And here's the truth men don't like hearing. If you bend your boundaries for a woman, she won't admire you. She'll test you more. Not because she's manipulative, but because she's trying to understand your strength. She wants to know if you're the kind of man who can be influenced, controlled, or shaken easily. A man with boundaries is different. He doesn't allow chaos into his life. He doesn't tolerate disrespect. He doesn't stay where he's not valued. And he doesn't chase someone who's clearly not showing up. This is where the wake-up call comes in. A lot of men lose their power because they're too scared to walk away. They think holding on will keep the woman. In reality, the willingness to walk away is what makes her see your worth. Boundaries create clarity. They show a woman what you will and will not accept. They show her you have a backbone. They show her you have self-respect. And the moment she realizes that, she starts treating you differently. Because now she knows she's dealing with a man, not a boy. If you want women to chase you, stop bending. Stop apologizing for having standards. Stop shrinking yourself just to be chosen. Stand firm. Stand clear. Stand true to what you believe, because a man who protects his boundaries protects his dignity, and that is exactly the kind of man women feel drawn to without even understanding why. 5. Unpredictability that feels safe. This is one of the most misunderstood dynamics in attraction. Men hear the word unpredictable and think it means being chaotic, inconsistent, or confusing. But that's not what creates desire. The kind of unpredictability women chase is much more subtle and far more controlled. It's the type of unpredictability that keeps you interesting without making her question her value or your intentions. Here's the truth. Women lose interest fast when a man becomes predictable in the wrong way. Predictable texts, predictable reactions, predictable conversations, predictable routines, predictable energy. When nothing about you surprises her anymore, she stops feeling pulled toward you. And this is where many men need a wake-up call. They confuse consistency with boredom. They think being safe means being repetitive. They think being stable means being dull. A man women chase has a different kind of presence. He's consistent in his character, but unpredictable in his expression. He's steady in his behavior, but surprising in his energy. He's reliable, but not routine. It's the combination of safety and novelty that keeps a woman invested. She knows who you are, but she doesn't always know what you'll do next. She feels secure in your presence, but excited by your personality. This is the balance most men miss. Being unpredictable in the right way means you don't follow patterns she can predict a mile away. You don't react the same way every time. You don't give her the same energy every day. You don't follow the script other men follow. It means you're not emotionally robotic, you're spontaneous, but you're not reckless. You switch things up, but you don't disappear. You keep her intrigued, but you don't play mind games. Women chase this because it creates a sense of emotional aliveness. She feels the relationship growing, not stagnating. She feels the dynamic expanding, not repeating. She feels like she's with a man who has depth, layers, and personality, not a copy and paste version of every man she's ever met. And men need to hear this. You can be loyal, disciplined, and grounded, and still be boring. Loyalty means nothing if she feels nothing. To create that pull, you must maintain your stability while letting your personality breathe. Let your humor show, let your mind wander, let your ideas surprise her. Let your individuality create unpredictability. Because when a man is safe but never stale, solid but never stiff, steady but never static, that is when a woman not only stays, she chases. 6. Attention that isn't free. One of the biggest mistakes modern men make is giving their attention away like it has no value. Constant texting, instant replies, endless compliments, trying to prove interest, trying to stay on her mind by being overly present. Men don't realize this. Anything that is always available stops being appreciated. And in today's world, where people crave validation but rarely respect it, free attention is the fastest way to become forgettable. Women don't chase men who drown them in attention. They chase men whose attention feels earned, meaningful, and intentional. Not because he's playing games, but because he values himself too much to give his energy to anyone who hasn't shown they deserve it. Here's the controversial reality. A man who gives too much attention looks insecure, even if he's not. It creates an imbalance. It tells her you're trying to win her approval. It shows your emotional investment before she's even earned basic trust or consistency. But a man who protects his attention communicates confidence without saying a word. He's selective. He's intentional. He doesn't have time for games. He doesn't reward inconsistency. He pays attention to effort, not excuses. This is the type of man women feel drawn to because he stands out in a world full of men chasing, pleading, and overgiving. Attention that isn't free tells a woman three powerful things. You respect your own time. You're not sitting around waiting for her message. You're not building your days around her availability. You have things going on that matter. You have emotional discipline. You don't give attention because you're bored or lonely. You give it because you choose to, not because you feel pressured to constantly prove yourself. You aren't desperate for connection. Your attention has weight because it comes from a place of self-worth, not insecurity. And here's where men need to wake up. Attention loses value when it's given too easily, but it becomes powerful when it's backed by standards. This doesn't mean ignoring women or acting cold. It means not rewarding inconsistent behavior. It means not chasing someone who isn't chasing back. It means letting your attention reflect your self-respect. When your attention becomes something a woman has to earn, not something she automatically receives, her attraction naturally increases. She becomes more consistent, more curious, and more invested. Not because you manipulated her, but because she sees your value. Women don't chase men who are available to everyone. They chase men whose attention feels rare, real, and worth having. 7. Purpose over romance. Every time. Here's a truth most men don't want to hear. Women chase men with purpose, not men who only romance them. Too many men waste years trying to impress women with gestures, gifts, and attention, while ignoring the real magnetism, a man on a mission. Women are wired to notice energy, direction, and determination. They feel it even before words are exchanged. A man who has goals, passions, and a life outside a woman is naturally attractive. He's not chasing validation, he's building something meaningful. That kind of focus pulls women in far more than flowers, compliments, or constant attention ever will. Romance alone can't sustain desire. It might get a woman interested temporarily, but long-term attraction comes from seeing a man who lives for something bigger than just her approval. When you prioritize purpose, you send a clear message. You're driven, grounded, and confident in your own life. That is irresistible. This is where a lot of men get it wrong. They think romance equals attraction. They think planning every date, saying all the right things, and being perfect will make a woman chase them. But here's the harsh truth. A man who prioritizes romance over purpose will always seem secondary in his own life. Women notice it, they subconsciously feel the imbalance, they sense the insecurity, and instead of chasing him, they often pull away. Purpose is a form of self-respect. It shows that your life has meaning independently of anyone else. It proves that your happiness isn't dictated by whether a woman reciprocates attention. It signals strength, maturity, and independence, all qualities that naturally trigger pursuit. A man who lives with purpose is also less likely to tolerate drama, mind games, or disrespect. He's busy building himself, and his time and energy are precious. That scarcity isn't manipulative. It's a reflection of value. Women instinctively respect and chase a man who respects himself enough to prioritize what truly matters. Wake up, men. The world isn't waiting for you to romance women perfectly. Women are watching how you live, what you stand for, and the energy you bring into every room. Purpose over romance always wins. It's not about being unkind or distant. It's about being a man who can thrive on his own and choosing to bring her along in your journey. If you master this, you'll notice something remarkable. Women stop having to be chased. They start chasing you, drawn to your life, your ambition, and your confidence. Conclusion. Here's the truth. Most people are too scared to say, women don't actually want men who treat them perfectly. They want men who treat themselves perfectly. Think about that for a second. It's not your charm, your gifts, or your constant attention that makes her chase you. It's your standards, your presence, your confidence, and your purpose. Most men spend their lives trying to be the man she wants, and that's exactly why she doesn't chase them. They're chasing validation instead of building a life she wants to join. Here's the controversial part. If you're constantly bending, giving, or adjusting yourself for a woman, you're teaching her not to chase you. You're teaching her that your energy is free, that your boundaries are weak, and that your emotions are available on demand. And when that happens, she doesn't desire you. She respects you less. Harsh? Yes. True? Absolutely. But it doesn't have to be this way. When you stand firm, protect your time and attention, control your emotions, and pursue your own purpose first, something magical happens. Women stop chasing other men, start noticing you, and want to be a part of your world. Desire becomes natural, effortless, and even addictive. I want to hear your experiences with this. Have you noticed how women react differently when you act like a man who isn't needy, who sets boundaries, and who lives with purpose? Comment below your story. I read every single one, and I will personally reach out to connect with some of you. I want to hear what's working, what's challenging, and how this controversial truth changes your dating life. Remember, this isn't about manipulation or games. It's about becoming a man who naturally commands respect, attention, and desire. If you do that, the chase stops being something you do. It starts being something she chooses.